Right. Hopefully everybody online can hear me. Want to make sure that my mic is working, but it looks like we're good here. So let me know online if you can't hear me. Just drop something in the chat or unmute yourself. And I'm going to make sure that I can hear you too as well. Okay. So really quickly, the entire purpose, I know it's usually like a little bit more of an intimate environment when we do these trainings. So normally what we will do is we will just go over kwbresources.com, which as you know, we kind of talked about already during our meeting together when we finalized your onboarding process. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of show you the ropes and where you can find all the resources available to you. So sometimes it's just easier to see it once and then kind of follow through with me. And then that way on your own, you can replicate and try and go back through later or at another point in time. So first things first, when you arrive at kwbresources.com, this is going to be the homepage you arrive on. I usually try to kind of take you through things as we arrive at them and show you the most convenient ways to access all the information here. And the reason for that is you'll notice that there's different ways to get to the same information. So we'll try and go through things at the most convenient way. So that way it's easy to keep at the top of your mind. The other thing I always like to point out too is if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to shout them out. Don't feel like you have to wait until the end. I'm happy to take those questions as we go. And then also, if I talk too fast, I apologize. Sometimes I do that. So I'm going to try not to, but if I start to, just say like, hey, could you slow down for a second? I absolutely will. The first thing we're going to do today is we're going to look at this new agent button. And when you click on the new agent button, if you were to select this learn more button right here, this would open up into like a little PDF checklist that would really highlight different things that go on during your onboarding process. It'll show you everything that we're asking on that macromotus component. But most importantly, since most of us are completed through that onboarding process, I wanted to point out the things you can start doing immediately towards the bottom, with the exception of that very last bullet point, which I'll kind of crop out of the screen here now. That was for our old office. So at the very bottom here, we're going to start out obviously by navigating KWB resources together. We'll also take a look at the office training calendar. I'll introduce you to where you can find that, so you're constantly in the know of the different events and trainings we've got going on in our office. We're going to talk a little bit about Ignite, which obviously many of you are already familiar with what Ignite is. That's going to be that 20-session training program that's done in-house here at KW Ballantyne, and then also done online on a national level. So some of us who have a little bit more of a complicated schedule might lean into the online version. But if you are planning on doing the in-person version with us, that's going to kick off again on July 10th. But you'll have plenty of time to kind of pick up some different trainings and some opportunities along the way leading up to Ignite. So we'll talk a little bit more about Ignite as we see that on the calendar. Joining our Facebook pages, I'll show you two key Facebook pages that we always recommend new agents join. And then also attending office meetings. Of course, this is one of them. So thank you for being here. You can check that off your list. But we'll go back now to that new agent screen. Under the basic training portion of this page, if you were to select the Learn More button, this is actually going to take you to Scott Leroy Marketing's website. Scott Leroy Marketing is who created all of your KW technology. They sent you that email that had your website, your login information, your new email address. So they are kind of the source of your KW technology, so to speak. They're our third-party marketing consultant here at KW Ballantyne. So they're not physically in this office, but they are still here to help you. They are a resource available to you, and I try to point out a few things on their website since we happen to navigate to it for orientation. Obviously, this is another website you could easily get lost in, so I'm not going to take up too much of your time really diving into this particular site, but I do want to make sure, of course, that you guys know where certain features exist. The first thing I point out to you guys is obviously I know because we arrive at this particular screen, there's an easy way for you to search keywords that hopefully can pull up specifically what you're looking for on their site. What I always point out for you guys is a lot of us may want to use QR codes at some point in time, but maybe we're not sure how to create one ourselves. We see that a lot on digital marketing, print marketing. So in the event that you're looking to create a QR code, they actually have a free form that you can fill out to create a QR code. It's really, really easy. All you pretty much have to do is say your name, your email, and where you want this QR code to go to, and then they'll email you back that QR code usually within the hour. So it makes it very simple for you to get access to all of that information. And then the other thing I'd like to highlight here as well, there's two more pieces to this puzzle. Agent resources. It did used to be a drop-down menu, but now you have to click this button and type in our market center number first. That number is going to be 350, so 350. This number will come up a lot and you'll see it several times, but that is going to be our market center number. It kind of tells you, hey, they're with Keller Williams Ballantyne. So when you type in that number, it should then open up and show you the resources available in that drop-down menu. And you can now go down to the training and then training calendar. So for those of us who are trying to get more familiar with our KW technology or learning how to do something for the first time, like a Facebook ad or something similar, there's tons of great training available to you through Scott Leroy Marketing. And they actually offer live trainings Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. The reason I point this out is because obviously I know, again, with real estate, you guys can actually kind of do this a little bit more part-time. You can do this as a dual career agent. And that's something that we, of course, encourage at Ballantyne is for you to be able to have a little bit of everything, right? So in the event your schedule looks more complicated, maybe you just got kiddos and that makes things a little bit more difficult to juggle at times. Tuesdays and Thursdays, when we offer our in-house tech training by Jules and Leah, that might just not be the best fit for your schedule. You may be more available on a Monday or maybe on a Friday. So in the event that this can help you guys get a lot of that tech training in, this is a way for you to supplement some of that training so you can understand your technology and hopefully at a time that works well for you. And we like to show you this specifically because it is another live training option. So there's a way for you to get your questions answered in real time. That's always important too. And you can easily click on any of these, see exactly what their conversation is going to be about, and jump right into that Zoom link. The other thing I like to share with you is going to be under this store option. One of the biggest questions I think I get from new agents is, where do I order my business cards? With business cards, you can order them truly anywhere. It does not matter to us. It depends entirely on what you would like to do. Some people are really creative and they want to do something custom using like Canva or Vistaprint that's very specific to them and their business. But some agents also are like, you know what? Creativity is not my thing. I just want to have a business card. So they're looking to get that done a little bit faster. So in the event that you're one of those agents that's like, hey, I just want something to work with and that says my name on it, they do offer pre-done templates through the agent store. So it's really easy to order business cards through them at any point. Like I said, you'll be able to select your market center number by using 350. It'll populate some of our information, just ask you to fill in a little bit of yours, and you'll see it all come up on a template. And there's plenty of options with the different templates that they offer as well. So it makes it really easy for you guys to get something ordered. And the best part of that too is that they offer at a great price point. So this was a couple years ago now. I think it might have jumped up like $10, but I think right now you can still order 500 business cards for under $50. So that's something to keep in mind as well, just because, again, it can be expensive to do some printing like that. So make sure that you guys are checking out all your resources before you decide on something. And the biggest thing too is, of course, there are advertising guidelines for you guys as real estate agents. I'll show you where you can locate those on our website here shortly. But otherwise, I always encourage you when it comes to the business cards, especially if you are a provisional broker in the state of North Carolina, which most of our brand newly licensed agents are going to be provisional broker. You just need to make sure that you're sending this design to our BIC associate, Tasha, to get her approval on it. She needs to give you the thumbs up and say that your design is good to go before you can print it. And the reason for that, if nothing else, is we would hate for you to get in trouble because you're missing something on that card or you need to have something on that card, but you've already spent money to order them. That would be really unfortunate. So we can just ask Tasha, hey, is this good? She can give you the thumbs up and then you can order it with no problems. So I'll show you where you can find Tasha's information again, but all of that was available to you just through Scott Leroy Marketing's website. But again, they've got so much on there. I'll share these top two Facebook pages. They're our most active Facebook pages. But this first one up top here is actually an internal Facebook group. It is going to be just our leadership team. So me, Teresa, and other staff members and our agents in this office. So if you were looking to get connected, obviously you can see for those of us in person, you can tell there's not all 500 of us in the office right now at this moment. So if you're looking to get plugged in with all of our agents or reach them in an easy way, Facebook's a great way to connect everybody. So most of our agents, if not all of them, are part of this Facebook group. It's really easy for you guys to get in there and then kind of reach out to everybody, whether it's, hey, I've got a buyer and I'm looking for XYZ. I've got a seller and I need some assistance with XYZ. We also see all the time if you're working with somebody that maybe is relocating to New York and you don't know anybody out in New York, but you want to make sure you're referring your client to a great agent. You can always ask in that Facebook group, does anyone have a referral partner they've used before in New York, New York, for example? I'm looking for someone in the city. And when you post that, if there's anybody in our office that sees that post that's worked with someone great up there, they will literally send you like screenshots of their contacts so that way you can easily be in touch with this agent. So it's a wonderful way for you guys to also get connections to different agents and be able to service your clients best based off of the assistance of others. Our office is very collaborative. We mean that, and we take that very seriously. And you'll see that help coming out all the time. So this Facebook page is just one way that you guys can kind of get plugged into that help. The second page here is very similar. Oh, I guess I should also mention on this page, I will also blow you up and make sure you know about every training that we've got going on, every special event. So that way you guys can always be aware. It's super easy for you to stay connected in what's happening at the office. And I'll also share the links if there's any registration link necessary so you can get plugged in right away to anything that excites you. So it's really hard to miss anything if you guys are checking that Facebook page regularly. The second thing here is that going to be the second Facebook page. That is our strategic alliance partners, or otherwise known as our vendor partner program at KW Ballantyne. So we actually, as a market center, have a preferred vendor program, which is not exclusive to all, or not necessarily in all KW offices. We are one of the ones that have a great vendor program. In order actually to become part of our vendor program, you have to be vetted by another Keller Williams Ballantyne agent, meaning that any of the vendor partners, home inspectors, crawl space technicians, anybody of the sort, pressure washers, landscapers, any of these individuals on that list are individuals you can trust because another Keller Williams Ballantyne agent has recommended them. So these individuals actually pay to be part of our program. And so if you are looking to find out a little bit more about who these vendors are, especially as a new agent, we might not know a home inspector that we can rely on right away. I might not have much experience working with landscapers. In that event, that way you guys can have an easy arsenal of different vendors that you can reach out to, again, to help your clients out, to help you out. So this Facebook page is home to our vendor partners. So it makes it very easy for you guys to get plugged in with all those vendor partners. They're constantly on there. They're posting about what they do, what they offer, new services, any promotional deals that they're offering as well. So it's really easy for you to get connected with all of those vendors. There's also a live spreadsheet that I'll share with you as we move forward where you can reference all those vendors on a list as well if it's easier than staying up on another Facebook page. We also have access to the Charlotte area realtor network. So that's going to be all real estate agents in Charlotte. And then this is the Carolinas region Facebook page. So this is going to be our region. So all the Keller Williams in the Carolinas, a little bit, I want to say it's all the Carolinas. It might be a little bit of top of the Florida area as well. So all of those Keller Williams offices are all part of this Facebook group as well. So it's a great way for you guys to find out about regional events that might be happening out in Raleigh or might be happening out in Hilton Head, where you guys can travel to network with other agents and hopefully build a great referral network. So that's an awesome opportunity as well to get plugged into what's happening on a regional level. When we go a little bit further on that new agent page, we'll arrive at Kellerisms. Kellerisms, really, if you were to click on it, it's going to open up to a PDF that's actually just going to break down what the language you're hearing at Keller Williams is. You'll probably notice from time to time that there's some words that are being said, and you're like, yeah, I have no idea what that means. And that's okay. Part of our wonderful culture has been this development of different terminology that has come with us as Keller Williams. So, with that being said, if you guys ever come across some of those words and you're like, yeah, I'm not quite sure what capping is, or keep hearing people talk about a 145, and I have no idea what that is, you're not alone. That happens. These are terms that don't exist outside of these walls, I'm quite sure. So, in that event, and you want to know more about what that means, you guys can reference the Kellerisms. It literally takes a word and breaks it down by definition into what it translates to in real world terminology. So it's very easy to follow along with and get a little more insight as to the conversations you may be hearing, especially although not necessary. If you're feeling a little nervous and maybe too shy to ask somebody, that's okay. You guys can always use this sheet to kind of follow along with the conversations you're hearing, but don't ever feel shy. Obviously, again, Keller Williams has language specific to itself. If you've never been with a KW office before, you're not expected to know it all. So don't worry, you can always ask questions, but if you want to reference this sheet instead, it does exist right here under the new agent tab. If we're going a little bit further, obviously, as you guys already know, for those of us who've got our KW tech set up back, KW Command is our CRM, and that means that that is kind of your database. That is where you are logging in all of your clientele, all of your business, all your future business. You guys are getting paid through Command. So Command, being our CRM, has tons of capabilities. It's also something that you're going to use regularly as a resource. So in the event that you guys are trying to figure out how to understand working through Command, whether it's basic practices and activities, or we're trying to start doing some more advanced stuff through Command. If you're wondering how to work through it, you can actually go to answers.kw.com. This is a site that I would have already introduced to you briefly when we met together to finalize your onboarding. But this website allows you to search keywords and it populates help articles. So that way you guys can go through and read solutions on how to navigate Command. It will also feature screenshots as well. So it's very easy to see what they're referring to on the screen. So it's not like super, super confusing. You just have to kind of read through. There's also some different avenues where you guys can explore YouTube channels instead, if that works better for your learning style. So I'll share those with you momentarily. We do have an opportunity here for you to download Ignite materials. Ignite materials are offered for free digitally. So when you guys are ready to plug into Ignite, you can easily follow along on your laptops in class for free. But if you're more true to pen and paper, you like that better and you want to write notes, I'm the same way. You guys can actually purchase a spiral bound copy of the materials. It's just $35. So if you're interested in that, just reach out to me or come by my office, especially as we kind of get closer to Ignite. I'm happy to set you up with one of those books. But then we'll just charge it to your agent bill. So it'll go on to the next month for you. As we scroll a little bit further, you will eventually arrive at access to our training calendar. Like I said in the beginning, I'd like to show you the easy way, not the hard way. That's a lot of scrolling, lots of different buttons we've clicked so far. So I'm going to show you a much easier way to get to that training calendar a little bit later. And at the bottom here, we're going to talk about conference rooms. The easiest way to get plugged into a conference room is just by going into this More tab here. You'll see schedule a conference room in the drop-down menu. So again, rather than all that scrolling, this is going to be the easiest way to go about this. But we do have 5 different conference rooms at this new office. We also have 2 focus rooms. Our focus rooms are designed to be small, intimate spaces. It's one desk in there, and that way you guys can go in there for private time to just kind of work through whatever you're doing for about 2 hours at a time. If you guys are looking to do cold calling, that might be a really good spot for you to kind of situate in. Maybe you're a little nervous about cold calling in front of people, or maybe you just, I cannot hear at all. So like if I want to hear something and I don't want distractions around me, I would need to be behind a closed door to do stuff like that. Maybe you're trying to read or hop on a Zoom call. A focus room is going to be a great fit for that. And they're available to you for free to utilize 2 hours at a time. They're actually the two of them are located just outside of this wall in this little hallway. And those 5 conference rooms, very similar. You can reserve 2 hours at a time throughout the week. The only difference with the conference rooms is that we prefer, because they're bigger and they can fit more people, that you're using them predominantly for when you're meeting other people. So whether you're meeting with your coach, your transaction partner, maybe you're meeting with a client and you're having a listing, you're doing a listing presentation, maybe you're meeting for a buyer consultation, or maybe you're just collaborating with other agents, conference rooms are going to be the perfect environment environment for that. And again, free for you to go ahead and book. It's super simple. When you hit schedule a conference room, it'll open up into a second website here. You'll just log in for the first time, you'll create a login, I should say. And then it opens into a spreadsheet where you can see all the conference rooms by name. You can see how many people can fit in that conference room. And then you can literally just drag and drop your time slot in there around what already is booked. So it's very easy to make sure that you're getting a room that's already available and to know if it's going to be appropriate for what you're doing. And so that was, if you can believe it, all under one button. That was just our new agent button, but I promise we'll get a little bit faster as we go. So when we scroll down a little bit further, now that we're just back on the homepage, this is our wonderful leadership team. It's going to show you what everybody in our office does on staff here. It also is going to tell you what our contact information is. So most of you have seen this in your new agent packet when we first onboarded to you. So a lot of you already might have this information in hand, but this is going to be another resource for you and where you can find our contact information. If we scroll a little bit lower, our wonderful tech coordinators who we just saw, Jules and Leah, they actually do offer a quick video here that is one of the best for new agents to watch. This explains how you guys can make sure that your KW command, so that's CRM, is linked with DocuSign. The DocuSign is where you're sending forms and contracts digitally to your clients. So in the event that you guys are going through that first transaction, we actually want to do this a little bit ahead of that. When we're first working with Command and DocuSign for the very first time, we want to make sure that everything's working already so that when we have that first transaction, no headaches, no hiccups, we can just hit the ground running. So when we talk about KW Command and DocuSign, you may notice that your command does not automatically populate those contracts and forms for you. And that's very normal because there's actually just a setting that you'll need to manipulate in order to make sure that your DocuSign is linked to your command account. So this video here, it's 25 minutes long. It's going to teach you everything you need to know on how to link those two accounts and make sure that your paperwork is easily populating into command and that everything that's getting signed is dropping right back where it needs to. So do me a favor, do Jules and Leah a favor, do yourselves a favor, check out this video at your earliest convenience and hopefully before you guys are under contract with anything. That way you have an idea of exactly how to get everything situated. So when you officially have business underway, you guys can hit the ground running. I'll scroll a little bit further. So eventually we do arrive at our office calendar. The easiest way is just by clicking this button. It'll pull you right here so you don't have to do all that annoying scrolling. But as we've mentioned, as I know we talked about this again when you guys met with me, but we'll reiterate that this is where you guys can find all of the different events and training opportunities that are happening here in Ballantyne. The easiest way for you guys to view this information is actually just clicking here for a full calendar view. It's just going to open it up in a way that's a lot more legible so you guys can read what's happening. But this way you can see every single event we've got going on, and you can actually click on any of those events. You can read through the description, and if there is a link that you need to register with, you can see that there. If it's available to you through Zoom, that Zoom link will always be posted. That way you guys can start getting plugged into anything and everything, whether we're talking about those core trainings, really focused for the new agents, or if we're talking about those special events that we're bringing in. Like we've got a great example of a special event happening tomorrow. That's going to be Win with Sellers with Stuart Downey. So if you guys are looking on like, how can I be a really great listing agent, even though you might feel like, oh my gosh, I'm brand new, should I be in that room? There is almost never a room that you shouldn't be in. If there's ever anything that seems interesting to you, you think you could learn something from it, please join us for it. And you can read through right here to find out, what is this going to be like? What can I expect? You can learn a little bit more about our instructor, and then you'll see that there is a link down at the bottom for you guys to register with. So if that seems like it's interesting, go ahead and sign up. It's usually a couple simple clicks and you guys are in and ready to go. And you'll see the same thing throughout on our calendar here. You'll be able to pinpoint specific trainings you may see in your 30, 60, 90 checklist. You also will see that we've got plenty of other special events throughout the month. So please check out the calendar at your leisure. That's going to be a great way for you guys to get plugged in and start filling up with some training, especially while we're waiting for Ignite to come back around. This is a great way for you, a great opportunity for you to get plugged into other stuff. So I'll scroll a little bit lower. We also have highlighted some of the upcoming meetings and really those recurring meetings here below our calendar. So these are some of the meetings that you guys can expect to happen regularly. Our ALC meetings happen the third Tuesday of every month. Our team meetings, which are kind of our Valentine party, so to speak, in the middle of the week. It's really fun. Really what that is we just get a lot of energy in this room. We even bring in special guests sometimes. We're highlighting vendors. We're highlighting updates on your technology, updates from our BIC. We are giving you all the insight you need as a Keller Williams Valentine agent twice a month. So these are great energy room filled packed out opportunities in this training room. So join us for those. They're also available online. And then Tech Tuesdays, as I mentioned, Jules and Leah are very diligent about offering tech training to you, whether it's focusing on the KW side of things or focusing more on technology in general. Like how can we become TikTok famous, basically? Like what steps do we need to really master the algorithms so we can make sure that our posts and our videos are getting in front of people so that we can get that attention back. So in that event, Tech Tuesdays are offered from 1 to 2 p.m., usually Monday or on every Tuesday, and you'll be able to see on the calendar what the specific topic would be. And then as you scroll a little bit lower, you'll come across our wonderful broker in charge and our big associate, Miss Tasha Viney. So the great news is both of these wonderful ladies are very kind, very patient, and very, very knowledgeable. So they are absolutely here to support you guys. The biggest thing I like to point out is Sabra is not actually commonly in our office. She usually actually is remote. She's not actually physically in here, although she does live in Charlotte. So Tasha, however, is more of the day-to-day. She is here in the office 3 days a week. Her office hours are actually posted right here, and her office is actually just behind in the back hallway on this side of the building. So it's really easy for you guys to go swing by Tasha's office, say hello, or ask a quick question. But both of these ladies are absolutely here to help you. The biggest thing is that most questions actually can go directly to Tasha first. And then if Tasha needs Sabra for anything, she'll refer back to Sabra for those specific issues, mostly those legal hair on fire issues. If your transaction is falling apart, you may want to just reach straight out to Sabra. But Tasha is going to be a significant support system for you guys in the meantime. And she, like I said, she's here 3 days a week. So whether we're emailing her, phone calls, anything like that, she is here to help you. You can even stop right by and see her. The other thing I point out, especially because June 10th, of course, and June 30th are right around the corner. Yay. That means we're coming across the time for renewals, making sure that we've got everything situated, whether it's education, payments, things of that nature. We want to make sure that you guys are good to go. I know I will say first and foremost, I am not an agent, so I don't know everything that you guys are responsible for doing day in, day out, and making sure you're squared away for the renewal period. But what I do understand, I think, is that most of the time, if you like just got your license a month ago, you may be in a good spot where you don't actually have to complete any hours of education. You should just be able, I think, to pay a small fee to reinstate the license for the following year. If I have that wrong, please call the real estate commission, no matter what. They'll be able to give you, of course, like the specifics for you and your situation. They can take a look with you and say, actually, this is what you'll need to do. Or yes, actually, your your AMCA at the office is wrong and she does not know what she's talking about. You got to do it, dot, dot, dot. They'll be able to give you all that insight. But as a precursor to calling the commission, some of these charts here will be very helpful. If you click on any of them, it will open up and give you step-by-step instructions on where you can go to make sure that you are in good standing if you've done everything that you need to do to make sure your license is renewed. So you can click on those. There's also information when it comes to your continuing education credits and things like that. So this way, again, you guys can just log in on your end by following along here and figure out what you need to do versus what you don't need to do. But of course, when in doubt, always call the real estate commission because they'll give you the best answer. When we get a little bit lower on the homepage, we do arrive at our Agent Leadership Council, or ALC. So each of these individuals that you'll see kind of scroll by in this slideshow, they are going to be top producing agents in our office that have voluntarily offered some additional time in order to serve different committees at Ballantyne. Right now, we've got 3 different committees. We've got the Social Committee and KW Cares. They are kind of our charitable arm, and they are organizing all our fun parties and events. We've got our career development committee. They are focusing on the trainings that we are bringing into the office, making sure that it's stuff that is relevant and things that get our agents excited. We also have our growth committee. They are here to help focus on building passive income through your profit share and your downline. So as you guys had named a sponsor when you came in, if you guys are interested in building your downline, having others name you as a sponsor, get plugged into growth committee. They can help you out with that. But so there is plenty of opportunity to kind of get connected with these agents, whether it's asking them a question about real estate in general or actually talking to them about, hey, I would love to know what kind of conversations you're having about the trainings that are coming into the office, or maybe even could I make a suggestion of a training I want to see? These individuals are absolutely here to take that feedback and that those suggestions. They are here to get plugged in. They even would love if you guys wanted to join any of their committees and kind of lend a hand with anything that they're doing. So growth committee, social committee, and career development, they all meet once a month with their separate committees. You'll see that on the calendar. It's usually that first Tuesday. So they're all doing their own meetings, and then they all get together collaboratively and do one big meeting, our ALC meetings that are offered usually in the training room. And that's where they're actually making huge decisions on behalf of the market center. So when it comes time, like, and this is pretty rare, but for example, there were several years ago, we changed what our cap was. So we actually reduced our cap and made it less company dollar that you guys as agents pay. So decisions like that, that's not something that as a staff we make by ourselves. We actually refer to our ALC and we get their input on it so that they can make a vote on behalf of our agents that we know is going to best represent our agents, because we don't want to make any decisions on behalf of the agents without getting your input. So our ALC is kind of here to help represent you guys as our agents and make sure that your voices are heard, especially when we are making those giant decisions. The other great thing about our ALC, excuse me, is that they are I'm sorry, now I lost my train of thought. Like, this is what happens. But so our ALC is here to hear your voices and help out with making sure that you guys are represented. And then the other thing I was going to mention with that, and now it's just not going to come back to me. Oh my gosh. You guys are welcome though to participate in any of those meetings so that you can hear the decisions that they're making. The only thing that we ask is that you just let them hold the floor. So you're just more of an observer rather than speaking during those meetings. But that way you know what's happening and what they're talking about. And that way you can be privy to any of those conversations. So great people to get to know. Please check out the calendar, see when their meetings are. They would love to get to know some of you, especially if any of that sounds exciting to you. When we scroll a little bit further down, we do have our productivity or business coaches. These individuals, and we talked again a little bit about this in our onboarding appointment, they represent the coaching program at KW Ballantyne. Each of them are individual coaches in that program. So what these individuals are here to do, especially for those of us getting auto enrolled into coaching as new agents, they are here to help make sure that your business is set up for success. So what they're going to do is they're going to help you guys out with the lead generation tactics, the script practice. They're here to really help launch you in that first year to make sure you're successful. But the biggest thing that they offer especially is that they're an accountability partner. It is so easy to say, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. and I'm going to go to the gym every single morning for an hour. It's a lot harder to do that. And I think we've all experienced that at least once. So same thing with lead generation. That is the best thing you can do for your business day in and day out, but it's also the hardest thing to do because it's not something a lot of people like doing. So when it comes time for lead generation, they're here to help make sure that you're doing all the things you say you're going to do day in and day out to make sure that you're getting yourself geared up for success. 90 days from now, a year from now, all that you're doing now will show up. You just got to put in that time and effort, and they're here to make sure that you're doing that. They also want to help you guys with your goal setting, see what your goals are, help you to kind of keep track on those goals. So they're really going to be super duper helpful for you. I did get a chat. Do we choose one and set an appointment? Hi, Jennifer. So yes, what will happen is Lynn Davis, our MCA, she actually sends you an email and she highlights when all of their available meeting times are during the week, because somebody's going to meet on like a Wednesday afternoon. I know Yassine does Thursdays, for example. So each of them has a separate meeting time and they meet every single week. So when Lynn sends you that email, she's going to highlight what each of those times are. You'll tell her what time works best for you. And that way we can make sure you're getting plugged in with somebody that works well for your schedule. And then I'm actually going to do the exact same thing when it it comes time for introducing you to your transaction partner. So I've emailed all of you for a transaction partner. Basically, as soon as your KW email comes back, I emailed you to your Keller Williams email, and this is also a quick reminder. Your Keller Williams email address is now where we are all going to be communicating with you. So if you think that, oh, I onboarded with Liz and she hasn't talked to me in days, that's probably not true. It's actually probably just because I started emailing you to a separate email. I'm now emailing that Keller Williams email address. So if you haven't checked in that Keller Williams email address since you've had it, please, please, please log into it. It's just through Gmail, and you'll see right away that there's several different communications coming from me, coming from Lynn, coming from office updates in general. So log into that email address so you guys can see what you may have missed. But I will also email you, Jennifer, just like with that coach, I'm going to talk to you guys about here are all the available meeting times for a transaction group partner. And then you guys will be able to tell me right away, okay, I think that, I've got a complicated schedule. I think that I need to do something in the evenings through Zoom better than committing myself to an in-person weekly appointment here at the office. In that event, just shoot that back to me via email, and I'll make sure that you're assigned to that particular transaction partner. And then I'll introduce you both via email to each other right thereafter. So these are going to be your contracts and forms experts. So they're, again, meeting every single week. Your transaction partner is going to be able to teach you all the contracts and forms you're utilizing. They're going to teach it to you in chunk down format, though, so you're going over it for several weeks. But that way, it's never too overwhelming. You're getting lots of time to get the depth and the importance of those documents. You're also getting a ton of opportunity to ask questions right then and there. And these are all done in intimate kind of group settings. So it's you and a couple other fellow agents and your partner, your transaction partner, or your coach. So it's really easy for you guys to get lots of info on the contracts and forms. And the idea being that hopefully you guys are able to take away enough that you can kind of build almost like a template to go along with what you're learning. So in the event that, you had a very by the book transaction, no hangups, no weird, there was a issue with the deed or anything like that. For a standard transaction, the idea is that you will walk away with a pre-done template, so to speak. And then you will be able to reference that at any point in time when you're going on moving forward and you have business. So when maybe it's 3 weeks from now that you get your first call about a buyer, and you've talked about buyers for 3 weeks now with your transaction partner, you'll have forms that you can go back and reference so you know how to instruct your clients on how to fill them out. It makes it much easier, a lot less scary that first time because it's not going to be muscle memory right away, but these individuals are here to help guide you. Towards the bottom, we do have additional resources, but there's a lot easier ways to get to those up top here. So the next tab I talk about, this one is quick, I promise. The FAQ tab here. If you guys are wondering who to go to on leadership or on staff and you're not sure who does what, these are kind of giving you a rough idea of what our responsibilities are. So if you have a question about pretty much anything financial, agent bill, commission request, commission or referrals, anything like that, you just hover over that tile and it will tell you, oh, that's Lynn. That's Lynn who's going to handle that. Here's her email. So that way you guys can be in contact with the right person. You'll notice that there's several different kind of avenues here that we're exploring on these tiles. But obviously 10 tiles is not going to cover everything that you guys may have questions about along the way. So if you're ever not sure who to reach out to, you can always come to me and I will help direct your question to who will be able to help best answer that question. The next tab I'm going to show you, we're going to skip over that About tab. It's actually this on-demand training tab. The reason that this one is password protected is because while this is a public-facing site, there are some things we want to make sure stay exclusive to our agents. So this password, for example, is going to be a capital B, lowercase a, M, C, 350. So if you've done your Wi-Fi password before, it's very similar to the Wi-Fi. It's ever so slightly different. It's a capital B, lowercase a, M, C, 350. And I will repeat that in just a couple more minutes because we'll come across one other tab that's password protected. So if you didn't get a chance to write that down yet, we will write it down in just a minute. So on this on-demand training tab, this is what I love to share with you guys on the left-hand side, especially, I should say, for those of us who've got some more complicated schedules, this is going to be maybe one of your favorite parts of the website. On the left-hand side under on-demand, if you guys go to this button here, it's going to take you to our KW Ballantyne YouTube channel. We've uploaded different meetings and trainings that are all posted to this website. Again, just to point out, this is not everything. This is going to be those recurring trainings. Any of those are actually highlighted below. You know exactly what's on here based off of these playlist options. So it's going to be Tech Tuesdays. It's going to be this orientation or this Keys to Success class, how to get paid faster. We're talking about team meetings, things like that. Checking in here. Yes, Jennifer, that is the password. So it's going to look like these are the trainings that we're uploading on here. The reason for that is, again, we know that life gets crazy. Some of us have complex schedules to start. Some of us might be traveling for vacation in the summer. Maybe we're going to miss a thing or two, but we don't want to. We want to make sure we're staying up to date on all the important info. So in that event, please, please, please come to this YouTube channel, guys. You will always see recordings uploaded here from those recurring trainings. Again, only these trainings are going to be what is uploaded. So those are all because those are also offered through Zoom, I should specify. That's the only way we get the recording is because it was a Zoom option. So with that being said, I will reiterate the importance of attending trainings live, whether it is remotely like you guys are now or in person like Miss Cynthia here. If you guys are going to be participating in trainings, I cannot encourage enough live participation. And the reason for that is exactly what we're experiencing right now. Like Jennifer, you've had some great questions so far. So this has been a great opportunity for you to ask them in real time rather than sit through a whole training and be like, well, that was great, but I'm still confused about da 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 da. The live trainings are just that much better because you either can communicate through Zoom or you can ask your questions in person and get some insight on what you may be having questions on. So you can get that clarification in real time. So live trainings, very important that you participate in those, whether it's in person or online. But if you miss something or if your schedule truly deeply just does not allow for it, you guys can use this as a resource so that you can see some of those videos from what you may have missed. I am constantly uploading the recordings onto this channel. I do it about like once a week or so. So if you're noticing that a specific recording is not showing here, feel free to reach out to me. It's possible I may not have gotten around to it in that moment, but there's also the possibility that YouTube maybe just didn't like that recording and wouldn't allow me to publish it. But it doesn't mean that I don't have the recording. So let me know if there's ever something missing here that you're specifically looking for. On the right-hand side, Scott Leroy Marketing. I've shown you guys this before briefly or talked about it with you during your onboarding appointment, but Scott Leroy Marketing, of course, does the same thing. They also offer a YouTube channel of archived videos, whether they were short little tips or full-length trainings. You guys can refer to Scott Leroy Marketing for additional assistance with your KW Tech, especially at a time that works best for you. Again, for those of us who've got more complicated schedules, this could be a really good avenue for you to get a lot of that information when it is most relevant to you as you're trying to learn ahead. So I just wanted to point that out as well. And you guys can see, obviously, right from the cover, what their specific video will be about and know if it's going to be one that's going to help you out or one that you'd like to watch. A little bit more info about Ignite here if you guys are curious. This same information is emailed to each of you individually when you first receive your KW email address. So if you had more questions and wanted to refer to it, you may, but most of this information actually already exists in your emails. The next tab here is Office Resources. Before I click into it, because I will repeat that password in just a moment. I do like to hover over this tab in particular. The reason for that is that some of these options, the first two specifically, are a little harder to get to when you click into the page. So I like to show them in this menu here. Advertising guidelines, guys, that is that same thing we were referring to when we talked about business cards. If you need to figure out what I legally have to have on something and legally cannot have on something, check the advertising guidelines whenever you're in doubt. This is going to tell you everything that's required of you to have on a specific document, whether it's print marketing, digital marketing. This will go over all of it with you. And any questions that you may have on what you're reading, of course, you can refer back to Tasha for. The do not call list is also posted here. These are both two important ones. The do not call list specifically, I believe most of us are aware of what that is from real estate school. But basically, especially for those of us who plan to do cold calling as a lead generation source, there are people who have specifically asked not to be called, and they do not want any phone solicitations or anything of the sort. So they have actually put themselves on a do not call list. The issue is that if you accidentally call one of those individuals, you guys can be at risk of fines, very heavy fines. We're talking several $1,000s and also a possible court appearance. So no fun at all. So it's a lot easier if you just don't call that same number. So in the event that you guys are calling and you need to make sure I am not calling the wrong person, right? Like I don't want to spend $1,000 today. Check out the do not call list. If you click on that, guys, it will give you a full description of how you can register to be part of the do not call list. So you can see all those names and know who not to call, because we do not want anybody getting in trouble or going to real estate jail right off the bat. That's no fun. But now I will go ahead and click into office resources and repeat that password, which is capital B, lowercase a, MC 350. And when you guys get into the office resources page, we'll talk about a couple things here. On the left-hand side under Get Forms, because I believe everyone is North Carolina licensed, Get Forms will actually take you to a Google Drive folder that Sabra, our broker in charge, created herself. This is going to have all of our KW Ballantyne specific documents and forms. So if you guys are looking for a working with real estate agents disclosure, if you guys are looking for residential property disclosures, anything that's specific to our firm, partnership disclosures, referral agent agreements, W-9s, that's a big one I always get asked about. All of these exist in this Google Drive folder under Get Forms. So the biggest thing to mention is, obviously, I kind of drove home and emphasized, these are only KW Ballantyne forms. These are not your state contracts and forms. Your state contracts and forms are available to you through DocuSign or through zip forms, which I think is through Canopy Matrix options. So they're either zip forms or DocuSign. Our KW Ballantyne specific forms usually don't populate in either of those sources. They exist in this Google Drive folder. So between the two sources, you should have access to everything you need for any given transaction. So my joke is always that depending on where you start, if you start in DocuSign and you're realizing the form you're looking for is not there, check this Google Drive folder. If you started out on this Google Drive folder and realized you're missing documents and forms, go check your DocuSign. Between these two resources, this is where everything will exist. So use that, guys. This is going to be where all those KW Ballantyne forms are. If you guys become South Carolina licensed, the same forms exist for South Carolina license on the right side. And then in the middle here under Get Checklist, if you click on that, this will actually take you to the checklist that Miss Sabra has also created on your behalf. So she's wonderful. She built all of these from scratch, if you can believe it. And she's literally walking you through step by step everything that you are responsible for doing to create whether it's North or South Carolina, to do a buyer's, to represent the buyer, to represent the seller. Sorry about that. I stumbled through that. But this is going to be your entire checklist overview, and you'll see it's several pages. She's telling you what the task is, when you are responsible for doing it, and then even letting you literally check it off if you like to do the checklist thing that I do every single day. This is an easy way for you guys to follow along. Make sure you have all your ducks in a row and you've done everything you need to do to get to that closing table. We want to make sure, especially like I said, those first few transactions are not muscle memory yet. It's going to be a little bit more of like, okay, double check, like I want to make sure I did this. And you're going to have a few more questions along the way. This is a reference guide for you guys to assist you in those first few transactions. So it's not so overwhelming. It's not so scary. You have a support from this document. You've got support from your partners. You will be able to go through those first few transactions, hopefully with ease. So these are here to help you guys. You are not required to use them, but they are here to support you in the event that you'd like to use them. Like I said, they are North and South Carolina licensed, both sides of the transaction. They go over everything. So please check and reference them anytime that you would like to have them. little bit lower, we will come across the CE Shop. The CE Shop and Superior are two schools that we partner with to get discount codes for your education, whether it's your continuing education, your post licensing, or if it's actually getting brand newly licensed in a different state, or sharing those codes even with someone else. Maybe you know somebody who's considering doing real estate and you want to help make their day. You guys can share these discount codes with those agents, or future agents, I should say. And there's no obligation for them to join our firm. It's literally just something you guys can do to make someone smile. And then the other great thing too is for those of us who are trying to build our downline, that's a good tool for you to use as well and kind of get your foot in the door in building a relationship with another agent. So keep that in mind. For those discount codes, whether you guys are using them for yourselves or sharing them, you can find them in this drop down menu right here. But when we do just go straight to the CE Shop website, the other thing I like to point out is there's two things. One, self-paced learning is obviously very different from doing an in-person class or a live through Zoom class. So if you've ever contemplated whether or not you'd be a good fit for self-paced learning, I know they're very different. You can actually do a free trial through the CE Shop. So keep that in mind. It's a way for you guys to check out self-paced for 7 days before you commit to purchasing that class or those materials. That way you guys can figure out if it works for you or if it doesn't. And if it doesn't, the great news is you get to walk away and you don't have to pay anything. But you guys can always see the deals that they're holding here through CE Shop. I also do like to point out at the very bottom, it used to exist up top, so now I just look a little crazy. But at the bottom here, under Agent Essentials is Hot Topics. The reason I go so far with all that scrolling to share hot topics with you is because, again, when it comes to marketing your businesses, guys, I know social media has become a very popular tool. So if you have any intention at all of using social media, the great news is that you guys can actually take a lot of influence and even some additional support, we'll call it, from others. So this is a resource for you guys who are planning social media marketing, especially. Not only is this something you can read or watch or listen to that can help you guys become better experts in your field by knowing what's going on in the market, but this is also something that you guys can share on your social media. So the reason I go so far to say that is because I know social media involves a lot of effort. Sounds like it's super easy, but if you actually look at it, the intention behind social media marketing is that you guys are posting something ideally every day. You're staying in front of your clientele and future clients all the time. That way they know you're a real estate agent. They know to come to you for real estate advice. There's tons of content on your page that's constantly directing new traffic. But with that being said, it can be hard to come up with fresh ideas. It can also be hard to keep content different enough to gain new traffic. So in the event that you guys are looking to spruce up what you're posting, you guys can always embellish with adding these articles, these blogs, these videos, just by dropping the link. So it's kind of an easy button for you guys in order to maintain an active social media presence for your business. So keep this in mind. It's, again, something you can learn from or something you can share. And it's just under the hot topics at the bottom with the CE Shop. The Valentine floor plan is not even a button anymore, so don't even worry about clicking on it. And then at the bottom here, just reiterating some numbers to know. If you go to get South Carolina licensed, guys, this is where you can find the firm license number that it's going to ask you for on your application to get that license number. So these are some kind of more obscure numbers that you may be asked for from time to time, but aren't going to be living in front of you all the time. So if you're looking, where can I find some of this information? It's usually just at the bottom of our office resources page, and it's going to be at the bottom with the numbers to know. However, if you lose track of this, again, you will only probably be asked for these numbers a handful of times. So maybe if you forget where to find them, you can always come back to me. I'm happy to point you in the right direction. But like our tax ID number is here as well. So again, when we're doing referrals, things of that nature, that's going to be something you want to know. So plenty of information to keep in mind right here at the bottom of office resources. Under tech resources, just briefly, I'm not going to click on any of this, but you'll be able to easily view the tech calendar at a glance, see what Jules and Leah have coming up. This is how you can access the same DocuSign and command video we talked about at the very beginning, the one that teaches you how to link the two. Answers at KW.com, that's that same help article website where you can read through solutions to understanding your KW technology. You guys can also access Scott Allray Marketing's website here. So again, just kind of take taking everything we've shown so far and putting it under one quick drop-down menu. It's easy to kind of navigate that way. The other screen here, or other tab here, is called More. You'll find here that our ALC meeting minutes are posted. I like to point that out because maybe you missed like that big meeting where ALC was making big decisions and you want to know what they talked about. You guys can actually access meeting minutes and read through what they discussed in a Google Drive folder. So that way, if you missed a meeting, you can still find out anything that was discussed. The prayer request form is always more of a talking piece than anything. That's really just to emphasize that you guys really seriously are our family. We take that to heart and we very much mean that. So if there's ever anything going on in your world, please let us know, because if nothing else, we do want to be able to kind of give you a hug in the hallway, smile with you, and cheer you up anytime we can. But if there's something going on in your world, whether it's with a family member or you personally, we just want to be aware so we can help best support you. If you believe in the power of prayer, we are happy to pray on your behalf as a leadership team. We are also happy to spread the word. If you want, like, if you're like, I love prayer power, I think the bigger the better, we will literally tell the entire market center for you and have more prayers going in your favor. We just want to make sure that obviously you guys are in the best possible position. So please keep us in mind anytime something's going on so that we can help support you as family. The other piece underneath that is KW Perks. This is actually for insurance purposes. I know a lot of us may not have insurance, especially now that we are doing independent contracting. So it's no longer maybe offered through your employer, even if maybe you have insurance, but want to see if there's something else out there that better fits you and your family. KW Perks, Keller Williams has partnered with Capstone Financial. So now you guys can search the insurance marketplace at a discount basically and find some better rates maybe available for you in an insurance plan. And I never, ever remember to get the right number in my head. I know it's more than 10% that people are saving. I just never, ever remember to like look up that stat before I get into this room with you guys. But check it out. Again, even if you've already got something in place, make sure that you look just to see if there's something better out there for you. The biggest thing is make sure you're covered, guys. Accidents happen, and we do not want anybody to be put in a bad position because of that. Like I said earlier, we have access to scheduling a conference room. KWB firm exclusive listings. If you guys are looking for listings that are done by our agents, that they're only marketing to our agents, they're not putting them on MLS or anything like that. If you guys want to see what those are and inquire more about those properties, this could be kind of, especially if you're like running dry on MLS, you're looking for something for your buyers, nothing's out there that's matching what they're looking for. Check the firm exclusive listings, see who's got active firm exclusive listings and contact them. See if it fits for your clients, because there are some listings that our agents will keep in-house and not market on MLS. So that's a great way for you guys to make sure that you're kind of doing all the things and checking all the bases. But that'll be a live spreadsheet for you, so you'll always see updates posted. Our strategic vendor partners, I mentioned earlier, there's a live spreadsheet here that tracks all of our vendors in our program. So this way you guys can constantly be in contact with any of these individuals in terms of servicing your clients, whether it's a listing or a buyer that may need something. Sometimes, hey, your neighbor might just say like, do you know a landscaper? And that's a great way for you guys, again, to be, hey, I'm a real estate expert. I know great people in the area. I'm happy to put you in touch with the right person. So this is a great way for you guys to impress kind of your neighbors, your friends, help keep them in mind, and help let them keep you in mind too. So you'll see organized by their service. This is everybody in our vendor program. Again, this is live. So anytime that we are adding different vendors, you'll see that immediately added here as well. But this way you know who you can reach out to. The other thing I like to point out is you'll see for landscaping specifically, because we're right there, we only have one gentleman currently in our landscaping umbrella here. That doesn't mean that we hate landscapers. We like them. But what we do have is we only have one. So in the event that you guys know a fantastic landscaper or similar, maybe you guys know somebody who's a fantastic mover, and you guys want to recommend them for the vendor program, because it is mutually beneficial. I mean, they get access to 550 agents who could use them. It's a great way for them to lead gen too. So in the event that you guys have someone you love, let us know. It's as simple as just emailing Angela Bueno and connecting them via email saying, hey, this is my friend. He's a mover. He's amazing. And I just really feel like, you know, working with KW Ballantyne agents could be beneficial for him. He's interested in joining our vendor program. Let us know that information and we'll be able to reach out Angela does all the heavy lifting. She just kind of does, here's what our vendor program is. You don't have to do any of that. You just introduce them via email. And she's actually got business cards up at the front desk. So it's super easy to connect us with a new vendor if you think that that's something that they're interested in. But this is also a way for you guys to get plugged in with some great reputable vendors that are already in our program. Close out. Going just briefly back here, we also have Outfront Magazine, very similar to those hot topics. If you guys are looking for that easy button in your social media, Outfront Magazine publishes an idea of what you guys can post every single day for the given month. So they do a monthly publishment of what you can do every single day. So if we need that easy button, Outfront Magazine has got you covered, and so does the CE Shop. We've already talked about the discount codes for real estate education. And then the other thing I like to share is the I need tech help button. So if you guys need to reach out to Jules and Leah, you want to talk to them for 30 minutes. They grow with your business, guys. They are so helpful. They can teach you how to do everything for free so that you can implement in your own business, small things to big things. Or if you're ready to start growing and leverage your time so that you can give away that task and use your time for something else, they can also do that for you too. You guys can establish a payment plan with them and different packages they offer, and they can take some of that off of your plate. So look at their calendar because you guys can book 30 minutes with them to meet to either discuss, hey, teach me how to do XYZ, or say, hey, I need to get this off my plate. What do your packages look like? But you guys can book 30 minutes of time. Know that they're available anytime you see these slots open. You guys can then include your information, specify, am I meeting you in person, face to face, or am I meeting you through Zoom? And then you guys can tell them what it is you want to meet with them about so they can prepare. And that way, not a single moment is wasted in that appointment. And your 30 minutes are all put to use in a beneficial way so that you guys can grow in your KW Tech understanding as well. So it's super simple. It'll drop right on their calendar, and then you have 30 minutes. I should reiterate that this appointment with them is free for you. So you guys can book that time with them, even if it's just to say, hey, I'm brand new. What are the things you'd recommend I do right away? They're happy to walk through that with you too. So make sure that you guys get connected with Jules and Leah. They're great resources to have. And they will absolutely gladly help you with all of your KW tech moving forward. So in short, that is pretty much everything on this website I go over with you. I know it's a lot. Everyone breathe. The great news is, as overwhelming as it may have felt in this one moment, I promise you the best thing you guys can do is you can go back home at your convenience and just go through everything we did today. Walk yourself back through where everything's located so you know where to find it. Maybe even explore a little further, see what else you can find on the page. But that way it just kind of helps to sink in where all of that information can be accessed. The other thing I always recommend too is, obviously, as we kind of touched on, a recording will be available of this exact class. I'll be posting it to our YouTube channel. You guys can access our YouTube channel at that point in time and rewatch what I'm doing and where I'm going for this information, if that would help as well. The other thing I always joke about is, because I talk fast, you guys can slow me down on YouTube. You can make me talk slower. It's great. So that way you guys can see this maybe at a pace that works better. If this was kind of brushing up on the too quick side of things. But that way you guys can kind of revisit this information, digest it even further, and then you know exactly where to go for all of your resources at KW Valentine, because all of this is available to you. And if anybody has like an extra split moment, I do like to usually show you one more thing. I know I'm running a little over, so I will not be offended if anyone needs to go. But I like to show you one more thing. It's on a separate website and it takes not even 5 minutes to share. So if it's okay, I will give you guys a minute here. If you need to hop off, you can. But I also want to take any questions on this particular website before I move to the next one. So does anybody online, any questions? You could drop them in the chat, or you can speak out on your microphone, and then I'll let Cynthia tell me if she's got any questions. Or we feel good? All right, sweet. That makes me feel good. Okay. And then I'll kind of wait here and see if anything comes up in the chat. But if not, I am just going to kind of move at least over to the next. Oh, look, I'm Jules today, apparently. That's nice. But I'll explain this to you guys in a second here. I'm not seeing any chats come up, but I will keep this open just in case I see something come through while I'm kind of showing you guys the next screen here. So this next particular screen, it actually is mykw.kw.com. So I'm going to try and go back to it. I didn't realize Jules was logged in. So mykw.kw.com. You guys go to that website, assuming you are not already logged in as Jules. It should take you to a screen where you guys are asked to put in a username and a password. The username and password is exactly what you set up when you met with me. It's probably written in your packets. It's also in your Scholarly marketing information. So it's going to be what we created together. But when you guys go to log into that site, this is what it will open up to. Today, I'll just be Jules for a little bit, which is fine. When you guys open this up, what I like to show you on this website specifically right now is how you can do an email blast to every agent in this office. Kind of how we talked about that Facebook page is helpful because it's minimal effort and it gets a lot of attention from our agents. This is very similar, and you can guarantee that people are going to see it because it's going to be emailed to them. So what I would like to share with you, you go down to the quick links portion. It's going to be this intranet option. It's going to say MC350 intranet. And then you can click on that. And then you're inside now. We are in the internet. Oh, goodness. Jules did not set up her settings. You'll probably see a screen like that. You'll hit the save settings button. So what you can do at that point in time is you will now see this is the library of all the posts that have ever been done, basically, by agents, by me on leadership, about trainings and events. You'll see all of that information. So you guys can actually go through here and find anything that may have been sent to you that you're trying to read more on. Or you guys can even look and search keywords. If you're not seeing it in this immediate thread, you can search to find things because it does archive this information. But when you're going to create your own, you're going to hit this add post button. And you'll see that you guys, this will be very actually similar to what you have on yours. You guys will be able to do an associate post. These are obviously grayed out. Do an associate post, and then you can designate a channel. This channel is not going to change the visibility. People will still be able to see your post no matter what you designate. It's just a way to help you categorize what you're sharing. Agent announcement will be the most general. So if you're not sure that this applies to what you have to say, you guys can always do agent announcement. Then you guys can type in your post title. Whatever you type in your post title, you have 100 characters of a post title. This is going to come through as the subject line of your email. So when somebody sees this email in their inbox, this is going to be the title of that email. You guys can then also include a URL if you're trying to link to a website or show them something. You guys can add a website right there. You can also add a PDF or a JPEG file. I believe you can add up to 12 different files. So if you guys are trying to show maybe a visual for this as well, you can add files. But then you'll also be able to type a post blurb. So this is where you can break down into like a bit more detail. You have 200 or you have 190 characters here that you can include. Obviously 190, you don't see the agent announcement button. Jennifer, when we go into the start page and you've hit add post, okay. I was gonna say, I was like, start page, add post, and then associate post. So when you go in, when you're typing your post blurb, you have 190 characters you can use. Obviously, that's still not a lot. So in the event that that's not enough, you may want to say see full post at the end because this is actually what's going to be the body of your email. You're limited to 190 characters in the body of your email. But when you see this, but when this email goes through, there's going to be a big blue button at the bottom that says view full post. So if you needed to say more than just this 190 characters, you can actually hit this add full message button in red just below, and it will open up into a text box where you can type freely as much as you need to. So when somebody receives your email, they'll see your title of your email here. This is this portion, the body of the email here, and they'll have a blue button that says view full post, and that will open them up into all of this additional information you've shared. So if you need to use this text box because you don't automatically know that there's more information in that email, I almost always try in my post to carve out enough characters that I can end with see full post. That way, when the email goes through to somebody, they can read my email and they see that message right there that says, oh, okay, there's more information. I'm going to click on that button so I can read more. That's really the only thing. But this way, you guys can reach out. If you guys have sellers that are looking to offload furniture like right now that need to get rid of stuff, maybe somebody needs help holding an open house. This is a great way for you guys to get plugged into your first open house. This is also a great way for you guys to share listings, things like that. Please use this. It's a great way to get people involved and to get your foot in the door. And it's also minimal effort, maximum result, right? So use this. This is a quick and easy email blast. Obviously, if you forget how to do this at any point, just reach out to me. I'm more than happy to do this with you again. But all you have to do to send it is hit the publish post button in red at the bottom. When you hit that publish post, it individually will trickle into everybody's inboxes over the next several minutes. So you may not see this come through to your own email for like confirmation that it went through. So if you are wondering if it worked, just send me a quick email and say, hey, Liz, I just did my first email blast and I want to make sure that it worked. Would you mind checking to see if you receive a copy of the email? And I'll keep an eye out on my end and I'll send you an email as soon as I see it, because you might not get that confirmation without it. But I will gladly look out for you and make sure that your first one was successful so that you know how to do them moving forward. But otherwise, very, very simple feature here. It's just through the intranet like I showed you, but it's an easy way to reach out to everybody all at once. So with that being said, that was everything I was going to show you on this particular website. Does anybody have any questions on this? Feel good? Pretty straightforward, right? Okay, good. Feel good when it's straightforward. And I'll give a second here as well for the chat just to make sure I didn't miss anything and that we feel good about this as well. But with all that being said, guys, that is everything I try to show you in this particular meeting. And I appreciate all of you for being available today and giving me your time. I apologize that we went a little over, but I do appreciate you for letting me do that with you. So should you have any questions, I will kind of keep that chat open. But if not, you are all able to go be free, enjoy your day. It's beautiful outside, I think. It might rain later, but you guys have so many hours before it's supposed to do that. Go enjoy the day. And of course, reach out to me. I'm a resource and a friend. Let me know if I can help you. Thank you, Jennifer. I hope you do too. But yeah, enjoy your day, guys. Thank you so much for your time. You're welcome. Anytime. I'm gonna close out because I think now it's just me on here. We're good. Now I don't feel bad. I did not want to accidentally miss somebody.